But as you can see now, they're making it out with that entrance.
15 minutes, it completely flooded the house. We have nothing left.
There's water in the bus. We need to get out.
Thank God for Metro Fire Department because they come and got us out.
They rescued a lot of people out of here.
It looked like a lake from outside.
It's hard. It's scary. You don't know what the water's going to do.
God, thank you that we're all safe.
An incredible day out there. Good evening, everyone. I'm Bob Mueller.
And I'm Samantha Fisher. Flooding, it is something that Music City takes very seriously after the events of May 2010.
Our team coverage starts in North Nashville, where one man's home was virtually destroyed for the third time.
And now he wants the city to do something about it. And as News 2's Jamie Tucker found out, he may get his wish.
Yeah, I called the emergency service.
Reverend Calvin Gooch knows what to do when it rains.
And it took my car down to the street down here. So I jumped out of it.
911 first, then try to get out.
I fell down these steps. My house is this is the third time that we have been in a flood over here.
3 times recently in a house that used to never flood. The water moves so fast now, he can't even pinpoint where it comes from.
It was like a little creek, or not a creek, a lake in my front yard out there.
Inside is worse. The pastor's study was at one point several feet underwater.
You'll look in there, you see all my books. See, they're destroyed, and some of the shelves have been falling down. And you see all of this stuff on this floor? You see everything that's mixed in this water, gas, oil, petroleum.
But the thing about it is, the damage on this street was much greater than the flood of 2010.
Walter Hunt is the Metro Councilman for this area of Ewing Drive in North Nashville.
I want to try to get the addresses of all the houses on Ewingdale that floods every time it rains. And I'm going to try to get them to put on a list of buyout.
With help from FEMA, the city bought out more than 200 homes after the 2010 flood. Hunt said he can't promise Gooch the same thing this time, but the Reverend is hopeful.
This is the third time we done try to rebuild. We're spending money, throwing good money after bad money. We need somebody in this area to help us.
In North Nashville, Jamie Tucker, Nashville's News 2.
Now, the Metro Water Department does file for FEMA grant money, which allows cities to buy out homes with matching funds. Councilman Hunt told us that he will ask for the grant money for any house on Ewingdale Drive that floods.
It's the video from today that everybody cannot stop talking about, and you'll see it only on Nashville's News 2. Firefighters rescue a baby from the rushing water in Madison this morning. News 2's Lori Mitchell is live from Gibson Drive, where it all happened.
This Madison Street looks a whole lot different now than it did this morning when homes were surrounded by water. People living here have lost practically everything. But one thing we keep hearing over and over again is how relieved residents are that their youngest neighbor is okay. Firefighters wade through waist-deep floodwater to save a 5-week-old sleeping baby girl trapped in this Madison home with her parents and 4-year-old brother.
It was heartbreaking for me because, you know, we've never experienced anything like that.
4 feet of water filled the inside of the Gibson Drive home. Rebecca Marlin, her husband Jeremiah, and their kids got in the attic and waited.
We were stuck. We had nowhere to go.
The water came so fast, Rebecca had time to grab only a few precious possessions, her children's baby books.
That was one thing that I didn't want to lose was their books because I don't have mine. So we got them and, you know, that's saved. Those are memories I can't replace.
The books fared better than the house and the belongings caught in the current's path.
That's how high it got, and it just totally trashed everything.
Seeing the family and his stuff.
Standing on dry ground, Jeremiah is thankful his family is by his side, turning a near tragedy into a blessing.
As long as we're together, none of that stuff matters. It can all be replaced. My family can't.
4 feet of water filled this home behind me, destroying practically everything, including all of little Lauren's baby supplies. We're told about 10 homes were impacted in all in this neighborhood, and 3 families had to be rescued. This is a low-lying area. A creek runs nearby, and neighbors tell us this isn't the first time this has happened. But it's never been this bad, not even during the 2010 flood. Reporting in Madison, I'm Lori Mitchell, Nashville's News 2.
Thank you, Laura. You know, the time of day this happened is scary, too. It's early in the morning, it's dark. You don't know the water's getting too high until it's almost too late.
And we see all the time firefighters and rescue personnel training for these kind of events. Obviously, it paid off today.
Yeah, you saw them taking the baby out with a rope tied around their waist. Well, Lisa, is there more rain on the way?
Well, things have settled down out there this afternoon, but this is really an impressive weather story from about a 4-hour period last night. See this stretch of orange and yellow and the red that comes through basically from I-40 north in Nashville. That area of red that you see there is where the heaviest rains fell. From North Nashville, the Bordeaux area had flooding up through Englewood, Madison, into the Rivergate Mall area. And there's a little pocket here right around the Gibson Drive area where we had 7+ inches of rain in about a 3-hour period. I don't care where you are, the ground can't absorb that much water that quickly. You go right down to the airport, it was less than a ½ inch of rain. In southeastern Davidson County, just a couple of tenths down around the Antioch area and Priest Lake communities. But we have flooding from Mount Juliet to Hermitage, too, because of 3-4 inches of rain in a short amount of time. So impressive rain totals. It was officially 7.32 inches of rain in the Madison area in that time frame overnight into early this morning. More than 5 inches in North Nashville and the Mount Juliet area up near Old Hickory Lake, and north of Lebanon, about 4 inches. Gallatin, 3 and almost 3/4 of an inch. And rain totals will vary from one backyard to another, but that gives you the general idea. The good news is, while we did have some storms pop up west of Nashville and more rain in town as we went through the afternoon, things have tapered off for us. Still some heavier showers, but those are moving off in southeastern Middle Tennessee. So for the thousands of people coming into town for the Titans game, it looks like most of the water has receded and the showers have tapered off. But you might want to pack a poncho, one of those little emergency ponchos that'll fit in the back pocket, because we may see a little flare-up of showers at least, maybe a rumble of thunder, about a 20 to 30% chance of that during game time. It will be a bit muggy, but the temperatures are cool, 78 at 7 and 76 at 9:30.
Okay, thank you, Lisa.
And a towel to wipe off your seat. It's going to be a little wet out there tonight.
Yeah, probably wouldn't think that the first Titans preseason game would be in the 70s. So, yeah, absolutely. Well, today, Nashville's News 2 took to the sky to get a bird's eye view of today's flooding.
We want to show you some of the hardest hit areas. As Lisa said, there was just a pocket north of the city over the Madison area, Englewood, Hendersonville. This is Ewingdale Drive in Ewing. You can see there's just like a creek in the back of this neighborhood. It got up to the back of these people's houses, but you can see it's just a pond there.
And now we're taking a look along in the Whites Creek area. You can see the river is swollen there. This is in Bordeaux. You know, certainly some more flooding problems in that area.
Again, north of the city, it got hammered. This is the ball fields. You can barely recognize them. You can see the light poles, but most of them underwater. A golf course here. They're not going to be playing there anytime soon. And this was that building we showed you earlier. It came off the foundation. You can see it there in the middle of the picture. It's supposed to be and connected with that other white roof there. It's now at a 45-degree angle. News 2's Andy Cordan is live in Madison where that building washed off its foundation. Andy?
Guys, this is ground zero, literally. I mean, this is where they saw the most amount of damage. 2-pound brick, I'll tell you, that's how powerful the water is, because it literally has littered thousands of 2-pound bricks all over the place. And in fact, Al, work with me 1 second, because it moved this whole building off of its foundation, okay? I talked to a guy that said that building's been there since I'm a kid. It used to be a doctor's office. Now it was a salon. Well, it's no longer there. It's probably going to be condemned. The water came and devastated this area, and basically they're doing a whole lot of salvage right now. It also, that's the other side of Gallatin Road, and I went in 3 or 4 of those businesses, and the water was some 3 feet up. In fact, Al, show the folks, can you see over the top of the cars? You can see people there that have dragged out whatever they can drag out, and there's a dumpster over there. That dumpster, folks, it doesn't belong on that side of the road. It belongs on this side of the road. That's because it floated like a boat. And these poor guys, they own a bakery. And I was talking to him at noon. He couldn't even get over here. He didn't even know what was going on. Look, he's basically salvaging what he can. Want to come on in? Do we have a moment? His floor looks like just devastated. And these poor guys, we talked to them, and they've been trying to make a go of it here, and they got blown up in the 2010 flood. They cleaned it up, they made it work, and here they are again, and now they don't know if they'll ever open again. More tonight at 6. Back to you guys in the studio.
Oh, no, twice.
It's unbelievable. Thank you, Andy. Well, parents expressed frustration today over impassable roads around Mount Juliet High School in Wilson County. One family tells Nashville's News 2 it took 2 hours to arrive at school. Curd Road was nearly impassable. Schools Director Tim Setterlin told us buses couldn't get into some neighborhoods. Officials tried to notify parents by phone. Some students, though, were late for another reason.
Somebody made the announcement that Mount Juliet High School was closed. and that was not true. We didn't close Mount Juliet High School, so we had a large number of students who didn't report to school on time this morning.
Some evening activities for Wilson County schools, including open houses for the first day of school, have been rescheduled.
This morning we had more rushing water during rush hour than cars in some places. And as Neil Orange shows us, when the two came together, it wasn't pretty.
Just terrible at the height of the morning rush here, especially on Interstate 24 and Briley Parkway on the north side. Of course, we had a couple areas of Briley Parkway that had problems, but this spot right here where Briley Parkway actually goes underneath Interstate 24, this low area was flooded out. Let's take a look at the video. One car actually pushed up onto the median there, dividing the two sides of Briley Parkway. But here, look a little bit closer as we move in, and you can see there were actually two cars that were gathered up here against the median. Both sides of Briley Parkway were shut down. But just as fast as that water came up, we started to see it recede. And pretty soon it was these westbound lanes that opened back up to traffic after TDOT and police got down there to inspect it. And then you can see the cars were out of the water. The windshield wipers still going as they dragged it off the median, pulled it out of the way. And 15 minutes later, the News 2 First Alert Unit was the first one traveling back under the overpass on Briley Parkway as it opened back up. Crazy scene out there on the north side this morning.
Well, not quite as crazy a scene this afternoon. However, we do have a lot of folks headed to the Titans game in East Nashville. Now, in addition to that, you've got a wreck on the eastbound side of 24 near Shelby Avenue. That's off on the right shoulder with a little activity in the right lane there. So be careful as you head down through East Nashville. By the way, got a wreck on the Jefferson Street Bridge in addition to the closure of the Woodland Street Bridge to all but pedestrians and shuttle buses. 65 northbound, very busy off the 40 split. A lot of traffic heading up through Metro Center in the rain. Be careful. Bob August, News 2 Traffic.
Music City loses a Tennessee music legend, soon to be officially inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame.
I'm Audra Martin, live at LP Field. And how are these rookies feeling about taking the field for their first NFL game? We'll find out next in sports. You're watching WKRN Nashville News 2.
Some light sprinkles falling in the Nashville area, sort of scattered about, at least not the heavy rain. But what about your Titans outlook for the game tonight? We'll look at that in just a couple of minutes.
And speaking of that, we're less than a couple hours away from the first Titans game of the year.
The preseason starts tonight, and News 2's Audra Martin is live from LP Field, where the excitement is building, and unfortunately, the rain's still falling. Audra?
Yeah, exactly. The excitement is building, and so are the puddles of water. Tarp is off the field, but it's still a bit rainy out here, and the fans are starting to file in as well. And these fans are super excited to see a good matchup tonight. Let's face it, even without RG3, this Washington team is pretty impressive. I don't think anybody would be excited to see them finish atop the NFC East. And of course, the results from today's game, well, they don't affect that outcome in the grand scheme of things. But one thing that certainly does matter is the performance from the Titan rookies. Coach Munchak says he plans to have his starters in for only about 20 to 25 snaps. So that leaves plenty of time for those new faces out there to prove themselves, prove they deserve a spot on this roster and that they can handle the pressure. But when it comes to the rookies, well, this is quite a big stage to have to prove themselves, and it's an opportunity that none of them are taking for granted.
It's going to be good work especially for myself, Wu, and Dane being young guys. It's going to be good work for us going against good receivers. I mean, we've gone against some great ones in practice, but it'll be some more good work. I'm just looking forward to seeing the game speed and everything, because I've had in my mind so many pictures and thoughts of how it's going to be, and I practice, but on game day, everything's a different tempo, a different speed.
I'm looking at it like a real game for me. I'm just going to work hard and try to be successful. I'm ready for whatever, so if it's a few snaps, if it's a lot of snaps, it really don't matter. Whatever coaches want me to do, that's what I'm going to do.
Now, both Ray Wilson and Warmack are expected to get a substantial amount of playing time today. And really, don't be surprised if you see Warmack in for the entire first half. Live at LP Field, I'm Audra Martin, Nashville's News 2.
Thank you, Audra. Remember to watch the Titans and Redskins live here on Nashville's News 2, 7 o'clock tonight. The game is a sellout, so be sure to join us here for the broadcast. And the Titans also want to remind you 5-game flex packs are still available for the 2013 season. You can purchase them at titansonline.com.
Today in Nashville, legendary producer and writer Cowboy Jack Clement passed away after battling cancer. The 82-year-old is set to be inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame later this year. The Memphis native is known for his work with Jerry Lee Lewis, Johnny Cash, and U2.
The curator said that this is the most stuff that one artist has ever brought in.
Reba is turning over her treasures to the Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum.
Wonder if she's got a rain jacket in that collection we could borrow for the Titans game tonight. You notice just a little bit of light shower activity is redeveloped here in Nashville. It's passing, but we may see a few more of these light showers through the evening. Pack a poncho. We'll look at that forecast coming up. Well, after the morning and midday heavy downpours, this is just a little bit of light rain that's moving through Davidson County over toward the Priest Lake area, where they really only had a couple of tenths early this morning, while folks in northern Davidson County got 5 to 7 inches. We've talked about this over the past couple of days, that we're in a saturated environment, and we can occasionally get these thunder showers that will pulse and tap into that moisture and just unload on an isolated area. And that's what happened in this strip of northern Davidson County up through northern Wilson County, southern Sumner County this morning. 5 to 7 inches of rain in about a 3 to 4 hour periods. Amazing. Even when you get 1 to 2 inches in a thunderstorm downpour, it can cause flash flooding, so that's why it was extreme there. Most of the showers have settled down late this evening, and that's good news for Titans fans. I can't guarantee you're not going to get a little bit wet, so we talked about this throughout the afternoon. One of those emergency ponchos, probably not a bad idea. Just keep that in mind as you head down to the stadium. 20-30% chance of those around during the game. Hopefully none of those downpours. I think that'll start up maybe again later tonight into tomorrow and Saturday and maybe Sunday too. In Madison overnight and this morning, it was 7.32 inches of rain. That's a lot of rain for several days, much less in a 3-hour period. North Nashville, it was more than 5 inches. Mount Juliet up around Old Hickory Lake, about 5+ inches. Lebanon, north of town, more than 4 inches. And, you know, it was heavy up in Gallatin too, Hendersonville, the Rivergate Mall area. And we could have more rain like that. In isolated fashion, we'll get those torrential downpours that could cause flash flooding. Some storms will pop up with a lot of lightning. We had some of those this afternoon, and some gusty winds. Even if you don't get severe winds, in these areas where the ground is so saturated, the tree roots are loose, and any little wind could come and push a tree over. So just keep that in mind. Stay alert and aware of what's going on around you. Notice how Predictor shows a little flare up of the lighter rains out there this evening during the Titans game and off to the east of Nashville. And then overnight, maybe some of those pockets of heavier downpours. It shows it east of town, and then by tomorrow morning drive time, we may have some more action here near the interstates of Nashville. And during the day, what we may see is some training of storms with heavier downpours along I-40. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that. But it may be very spotty in nature, not widespread at all. Friday evening, Predictor wants to show it pretty quiet. But as we head into Saturday, keep an eye on the sky and on your WKRN weather app on your smartphone, because while early in the day it looks like some of the heaviest rains could be north of us, we could begin to see some of those spotty downpours right across Middle Tennessee again. Right now, cloudy skies with light sprinkles, 76 degrees, a light wind, basically calm tonight. Isolated showers are possible through the evening. Temperatures holding in the mid to upper 70s, about 73 for the low. If you get a little break in the clouds and you had rain, and many of us at least had some, you could have some patchy fog develop. And then tomorrow, at least some isolated downpours are possible. If you stay in the clouds all day, low 80s for highs. If you get some peaks of sunshine, again, you could push to near 90. We've talked about that. These temperatures could range from 82 to 92 degrees, but the rain chances stay pretty significant. 50 to 60% chance Friday, Saturday, maybe a little lower on Sunday. We'll back it off a little bit by next week, but still at least some isolated showers.
My dad even thought I had it on backwards.
Reba is remembering her scandalous red CMA dress. Why country music's most famous redhead hopes that you'll walk with her down memory lane. You're watching WKRN, Nashville's News 2. Reba says that her new exhibit at the Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum is a lot like reliving her life through her clothes. And when it comes to the costumes and glamorous gowns, country music's most famous redhead admits that she does have her favorites.
One took me a long time to pay off. That meant a lot. And one I felt like Cinderella in. And then another I felt really tough in. That's my outfit over there with Annie Oakley. But then the one I liked so much that meant a lot to me was the one that Johnny Cash gave me.
I bet. Reba wore the dress on Cash's 1981 Women of Country special. Reba, All the Women I Am, opens tomorrow at the Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum, and it runs through next June, so you have a while to check it out.
And we're an hour and a half from kickoff.
Pack the poncho.
There
That's
you
my,
go.
that's my motto. It's
Yeah.
not going to be those heavy rains that we had last night, at least not during game time, but these occasional light sprinkles will come through. So if you're headed down to LP Field, I'm going to say a 20-30% chance of some showers. I can't rule out a rumble of thunder, but more likely just a little damp.
If you're a true fan, you'll be there.
That's right.
All right, thanks.
News 2 at 5. See you back here at 6.